Right now, you owe somebody money, a mortgage, a card, $20 to a friend. Don't feel bad. So does every single country on earth. All of them, at once. Today, we take everything humanity owes, every government, company, and household, and stack it into one pile. Fair warning, the pile leaves the planet. Here's the number. $348 trillion. It grew by 29 trillion last year, almost $1 million of new debt every second. Numbers this size stop meaning anything. So we're not going to say them. We're going to stack them. This is magnitude. Quick refresher from episode 1. $1 million in hundreds. A stack 1 meter tall. 1 billion, a kilometer, taller than the Burj Khalifa. 1 trillion, a tower 1,000 kilometers high, more than twice the altitude of the space station. Last time, we planted 300 of those towers side by side. Today, we stack them on top of each other. Start with the champion. Japan owes more than twice its entire economy, 204% of GDP. 2 full years of everything Japan produces just to break even. The politest economy on earth is also the deepest in the red. And yet the trains run on time, because nearly all of it is owed to Japan's own savers. Remember that. It'll matter later. And Japan has company. 23 countries owe more than a year of everything they make. Italy, Greece, France. This club used to be a scandal, now it's the neighborhood. And the United States? Biggest pile on earth, 38.5 trillion. Stacked in hundreds, America's debt climbs 42,000 kilometers, past the satellites that broadcast television. One country's IOUs, looming over orbit. MAG has started collecting. It is not going well. Now add every other government on earth, every republic, every kingdom, every island with a flag. The public pile alone, $100 trillion, on track to match the entire planet's yearly income by 2029. Territory last seen after World War II. Governments alone reach a quarter of the way to the moon, and governments are less than half the story. Companies borrow another 100 trillion or so. Households, mortgages, cars, credit cards, most of another 100 on top. The phone you're watching this on? Decent chance it's on a payment plan. Every layer of civilization floats on borrowed money, which brings us to the full stack. $348 trillion in $100 bills, one on top of another. 380,000 kilometers. The moon is at 384. Humanity's debt, stacked, reaches the moon. By weight, 350 Eiffel Towers of cash. Apollo burned 3 days of rocket fuel to cross that gap. Our IOUs cover it standing still, 3 times everything the planet earns in a year. Split it evenly, and every human alive owes about $42,000. Every baby, Every retiree, for most of humanity, that's years of income. You never signed anything? You were born on the ledger. Which raises the awkward question, if every country, company, and household is in debt, who is the money owed to? Did we borrow it from Mars? Follow any dollar home. A government bond is owed to a pension fund, somebody's grandmother, to a bank where your savings live, to insurance companies, to other governments, and, strangest of all, to itself. A fifth of America's debt is owed to its own trust funds. Every debt on earth is somebody else's savings. The stack to the moon, seen from the other side, is the biggest pile of assets ever assembled. Yes, nations lend to each other. A third of America's debt is held abroad, Japan first in line. But zoom out, and the arrows bend into a loop. Tokyo lends to Washington. Washington's funds buy Europe. Beijing holds American bonds, and American companies build factories in Shenzhen. Follow every arrow to the end, and Earth owes Earth. So is it fine? Here's the part that isn't. Borrowed time charges rent. It's called interest. America now pays over $30,000 in interest every second. $1 trillion a year, more than its entire military, projected to double by 2036. And here's the trick. The debt is never repaid. When a bond comes due, governments borrow fresh to pay off the old, and that's been normal for 3 centuries. The debt doesn't get paid. It gets fed forever, and its appetite is growing. Mag has given up collecting. He's relabeling, crossing out debts, writing promises, because that's what every bill in the stack is, a promise about the future. 348 trillion promises. Every pension, a bet that a stranger keeps working. Every bond, a bet on taxes not yet collected. One question left on the clipboard. Can the future keep them all? Come back down the stack with me. Down past the satellites, where the interest ticks. Past 100 flags, each planted on its own tower of red ink. Past the banks, the pensions, the vaults, down to the bottom bill. Look closer. It isn't money. It's a note that says, I'll work tomorrow if you pay me today. Zoom in far enough, and the whole stack lands on 2 hands shaking. Money is trust. Ownership is permission. The internet is an agreement, and debt is a promise. The future already spent. The stack doesn't reach the moon because we're broke. It reaches the moon because that's how much future we've promised each other. 380,000 kilometers of tomorrow, sold in advance. So, every country's debt, stacked, one moonshot of $100 bills, owed by everyone to everyone, growing $1 million a second, held together by one thing, the belief that it will all eventually be paid. So, what happens if the biggest borrower in history, the country whose IOUs the whole system stands on, one morning simply says no? Next time, the day America refuses to pay. What if the U.S. refused to pay its debt? That's next time on Magnitude.